The PGA of America runs the Ryder Cup. I don't think this has anything to do with... They're not playing for money at the Ryder Cup, Brandel. They're playing for their country. He's an American.
Things got awkward between Brad Faxon and Brandel Chamblee after Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship at Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester.
They're playing for their country. They're not playing for their tour. They're just playing for their country. There's certainly a sense that the Europeans are playing for their tour. You're right. Yeah, I think you're right. You make a reasonable point. They're not playing for their tour. They're just playing for their country.
Well, they're playing golf. We stand off here. No, I mean, honestly, it's a hard decision for me. I don't know that there's a right answer to this, but I know that Koepka, he's second on the points list right now. He's only played in two events on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, second and first will move you right out.
Yeah,
the Ryder Cup here.
Sure will.
As odd as the exchange was, there is reason for pause amongst many diehard PGA fans, and it is this. Will the American and European golfers who golf professionally for the defective LIV Tour be given a slot on their respective Ryder Cup teams? Captain Zach Johnson was asked about it.
How much time, if at all, have you spent thinking about if a possible LIV player could either qualify or maybe be a pick for your team?
You know, I mean, I haven't given... It's funny you say that because I was talking about that just the other day with some of my vice captains. I mean, we're at a point right now where when it comes to... It's not even a discussion item. I mean, we're trying to figure out, you know, there's maybe a couple guys that have come close to securing their spot in the top 6. But when it comes to picks, it's not even on my radar.
One of the more notable exchanges happened when he was asked in regards to his level of comfort putting a LIV golfer on the team. Quote, I don't know. I can't answer that. I'll say this. The guys that are on the PGA Tour that make that team, they have direct ownership in that collectively. For me to stand here and say that I would feel comfortable or uncomfortable with it would be, I would think, irresponsible on my behalf because it's not my team. To his credit, Zach said of Koepka, he's a rare breed mentally, where he just is able to bring out his best in the most difficult and trying of circumstances. My number one goal as the leader is to go put these guys in a position to win, whatever that looks like. Time will tell. And so it begins with Ryder Cup talk. The tournament pitting Europe's best against the US's elite, taking place in late September just outside Rome, Italy. Koepka, a noted LIV golfer, is the biggest sticking point not seen on video, was Faxon saying, I look at Brooks as a guy that he lives down in Jupiter, Florida, where Justin Thomas is, Dustin Johnson is, Rory McIlroy is, Keegan Bradley is. It seems like the whole golfing world and many of the players that are going to play on either side of the Ryder Cup team. When you talk about the LIV golfers that left the PGA Tour to go over, play there, you never hear a bad word from those players about Brooks Koepka. I think Brooks would be a fantastic addition to the team, particularly inside the locker room. Team captain Zach Johnson would be foolish not to consider him. With his win, by the way, Koepka is second on the Ryder Cup points list. It's practically an automatic pick. Chamblee replied, the reasons for him to be on the team are pretty obvious, right? He'd make the team better. He'd make the Ryder Cup more compelling. But the reasons for him not to be on the team, I think, are pretty obvious too. Don't you think it would be a bit of a slap in the face to the players that didn't go, that didn't take the money and go to LIV, that somebody who took the money could now have their cake and eat it too? Chamblee continued, and in playing on the Ryder Cup team, would it not in some way elevate LIV, make it more legitimate? And LIV, by the way, is involved in and actively suing the PGA Tour at enormous expense to the PGA Tour. And that expensive money is coming out of the PGA Tour players' pockets. So how do you feel about those two? Zach Johnson has 6 captain's picks to make. Notably, the President's Cup did not include a single player from LIV. The Ryder Cup stripped the captaincy from Henrik Stenson of Sweden. He'd say, I made every arrangement possible here to be able to fulfill my captain's duties, and I've had great help here from LIV to be able to do that. And still, the decision was made that I was to be removed. I'm obviously disappointed over the situation, but it is what it is, and yeah, we move on from there now. As we have brought to you previously, the LIV Golf Circuit, owned by Saudi Arabia, has caught the ire of Chamblee and many, many others. He called out CEO Greg Norman and Phil Mickelson, saying it's lost on them that they're working for a dictator, and dictators are notoriously good at manipulating people to the incremental change it takes to get to tyranny.